Hello global locals, I'm Debbie, also known as Celebrant Spain, because I'm a celebrant in Spain. I'm from the UK originally, and I've been living in Spain for 11 years. It was the right time in my life. I have two grown-up children. My parents were in good health. It was just the right time for me to have an adventure. I met my partner. He's like a global traveller anyway, so he was up for an adventure. So we moved to Spain. We decided to stay because we burnt all our bridges in the UK. There was no going back. It was actually a permanent move for us. It was a very big decision. We jumped in with both feet, but why not? You know, you only live once. I've been in Spain 11 years. I was inland for 8 years, and I've been on the coast now for 3 years. I don't like the UK. I have my grandchildren there, my parents there. So that's the only reason I travel back once a year if I have to, because I don't like the UK. It's too grey. It's an angry country. Perhaps you have to live somewhere else and have distance to realise that. The climate is awful, and in the winter you get up in the dark and you come home from work in the dark. I have absolutely no desire to go back there. We travelled down, we arrived in Santander, and we had like a 48-hour car trip ahead of us. We stayed in Aranjuez, and it was lovely. Really, really nice place. Very accessible from the ferry. I would definitely book somewhere, and I would probably book a hotel. Just have everything, you know, just have yourself looked after, just for the very first night. Haha! Patience! You need patience in Spain. I love Spain. It's a cliche, but it's a true cliche. So you need patience. It will happen, but it will happen in its own time. In Spain, we use the euro. Although there are some places that still use pesetas, and sometimes in the supermarkets you will still see pesetas listed. There are a lot of inmobiliaria, estate agents. There's still a very traditional way of looking for houses. We came from the UK and we discovered a website called Kyero. And Kyero is like a mother website and incorporates lots of other estate agency sites. I can only compare it to the UK, and it's much cheaper here. Practically everything is much cheaper here in Spain. We have a little flat, and that rents out for €375 a month. Lighting and water is on top of that. So €375 a month will get you a one-bedroom flat on the coast. You're looking at 21%, which is quite high. The government have got to get their tax back somehow, haven't they? I have a business. I'm a wedding celebrant. I have an autonomo business. So autonomo is self-employed. So I pay taxes through my autonomo, which gives me access to the health service here in Spain, which is excellent. I don't know what the unemployment rate is. It's an inflated number because a lot of people claim paro. Paro is unemployment, but they're actually working. They're working in the campo, in the countryside, on the olives. So whatever the figure is, it's not accurate. I have never been more proud of where I live. I've been here 11 years and I love the people, the place, the climate, everything. But I was supremely proud of being here in Spain during COVID. You have to remember that back in the 70s, it was still a dictatorship. It was very much a third world country here in Spain. And so the Spanish people in general are almost accustomed to being told what to do. So when the government locked us down, and they locked us down very hard and very quickly, everybody listened. We had barriers at the end of our street. We were fined if we walked the dog further than 200 metres outside the house. We couldn't go into a shop unless we could prove we were shopping for at least a week. We were fined, and it did work. So I was very, very proud of the people of Spain and how they reacted to the pandemic and the restrictions imposed upon them. Get into the habit of having a siesta. If you arrive in summer, it's very, very hot here. Very hot. So we have two parts to the day. We have the morning, we have a siesta, and then we have the evening. And life goes on late into the night and into the early hours of the morning. And that's just natural here. It's just too hot in the middle of the day. Spanish, Castellano is the main Spanish language here. There are variations, regional variations. When I arrived in Spain, I did not speak Spanish. Now I'm bilingual. I'm not fluent, but I can have a conversation in Spanish on any subject that you like, and I can understand any conversation in Spanish pretty much. So how did I learn? I immersed myself. And you start off just speaking nouns and repeating things and making a complete fool of yourself and having a lot of fun with it. And the Spanish will respect you for it. I think you have to speak the language. I think you need to dive in, have a go, make a fool of yourself and learn. Here in Spain we have a fantastic climate. We have regional variations, but in southern Spain, where I am, we have a wonderful climate, and I'm on the Costa Tropical. Costa Tropical is the coast of Granada. So we have a very tropical climate, as you might imagine. It's a microclimate, and that's what draws people to my particular part of Spain. On the Costa del Sol, yes, there are a lot of foreigners. On the Costa Tropical, not so much. We are a holiday destination, but it's mainly Spanish that are here on holiday. But we do have an eclectic mix of Swedish, Italians, Germans, English, French, all different nationalities. So it's no one dominant foreigner here. It's whereas if you go to the Costa del Sol, you probably find quite a lot of British and quite a few Russians too at the moment. When they come over here, some reason they change their jobs. They become something else. So somebody who was perhaps a builder in the UK, by the time they get to Spain, they're an architect. So I'm really sorry, but I don't have an awful lot of trust in general in the immigrant population, not from my own country anyway. I only gravitate towards people that I would normally make friends with. I don't make friends with people just because I share the same language. I make friends with them because we laugh at the same things and we enjoy the same things. We have the same sense of fun. In my experience, yeah, I just go out there and yeah, why not? If in the campo, in the countryside, leave your door open, basically, and people will come calling. It's like in Spain, in inland Spain, if you drive 2 hours inland, it's like the UK was between the wars. It's a lovely place to be. It's very, very friendly, and you just leave your door open, and that's how you'll meet people, because they'll walk in through your front door. If you come down to the coast, I would go to one of the intercambio associations or groups. So go to a language exchange, and there you'll begin to meet kind of like-minded immigrants, and you'll meet Spanish people that are warm and open and welcoming to you and want to know your language too. So join an intercambio de idiomas, which is a language exchange. Tengo monos en mi cara. Have you got monkeys in my face? You know, what are you looking at? That's one. No me digas tonterías. Don't talk stupid. There's two that just come into my head. There's a brilliant resource, Costa Women. Costa Women, and if you join the main group, the mother group, then you can branch off into a local group like Costa Women, Costa Tropical. I have residencia in Spain, so I am a resident of Spain. Okay, it depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from Britain, you're Brexit, aren't you? So you've made a muck-up of it, and you've made it really difficult to come over here. I was talking to somebody today, desperately trying to come over and live in Spain and set up a business, and now she needs all kinds of visas. So they made it really difficult. Yeah, healthcare here is superb. Unfortunately, I have experienced it on a number of occasions, and if you go into a hospital on the National Health Service here, there are a maximum of 2 people to a ward, and your family can stay with you in the ward if they want to. You have your own bathroom, just sharing with that other bed. There is a dietitian to sort out whatever your food requirements are according to whatever your ailment is. It's deep cleaned twice a day. You have your own orderlies that are there for you. Healthcare service in Spain is superb. You have benefits, social benefits and healthcare here in Spain. Obviously, if you have a serious accident, if you have to go to the accident and emergency, which is called urgencias here in Spain, if you have to go to urgencias, they will treat you. Anything other than an immediate treatment, you will probably have to pay, or you have to show your European health card. Spain floats on a sea of paper. We have 17 autonomous regions. They all make their own laws and regulations. Yes, we have a central government, but if you move from different provinces, so if you move from Andalusia out of this autonomous region into another one, the information is different and restrictions are different. If you move between provinces within a region, again, things can be different. So, for example, classic example, I had a bank account in Jaén province with a bank called Caja Rural. And I went and I moved from Jaén province to the next door province in Córdoba, and I thought Caja Rural in Córdoba, I could still access my account. No, you can't. It's still called the same bank, but you have to set up a brand new bank account and close the other one. And then when I moved to the province of Granada, I had to go through the pain again. So they don't talk to each other. I think the main problem in Spain is it's not centralised. Buying and selling a car, for example, is not centralised. And you get taxed buying and you get taxed selling. It's the same for houses as well. It's a big thing to look out for, actually. The biggest stereotype is that the people of Spain are lazy. No, they're not. They're very, very, very hard-working. But they do have a different body clock, and they do acknowledge the siesta, purely because it's so flipping hot. I don't think people talk about its recent history enough, the Civil War and the dictatorship. When I was living inland in the campo, neighbours were in their 80s, and they would talk to us about their experience of living in the days of Franco. They would eat grass because they were starving. My friend didn't have shoes until he was 14. He lived in the city. The Americans actually kept the city of Granada going with their food parcels, otherwise the family would have starved. They had it extremely tough here, and there were some real atrocities that people still are very reluctant to talk about. There are still families within the same village that won't talk to each other because of the Civil War and because they had opposing views. You think of the Costa del Sol and coming to Torremolinos or Fuengirola, and you think of sunshine and discos and whatever else, but it wasn't always like that. I was actually first here in 1968, and it was a very different country then. I still have memories of it. If someone wants to volunteer to connect to the local communities, that depends purely on whether you are in the city or whether you are on the coast or whether you are in the countryside. If you're in the countryside, just join in with everything. I am not religious, but I got myself onto the church rota to help clean the church because it's a community building and it's where people meet up. And because I was using it, I thought that it was my duty to help clean it as well. I used to do matanza, where the community will get us together and they go around the different farms. I have a farming history myself, so it's not something that I was not already accustomed to. You don't have to join in with it because obviously some people don't agree with everything. Just be open to local customs. It's a hugely Catholic country here. As I say, I'm not religious, but I really do appreciate the cultural element. When they have fiestas here and they're religious fiestas, they draw people together. So have an open mind when you go to a new country, and Spain in particular. Have an open mind, and then you will be more easily accepted. If you're in the north of Spain, you have a very different climate to the south of Spain. If you go towards Almeria, it's practically desert. We're only 14 kilometres here from Africa, remember, over the sea there. So we have a very hot climate, and Andalusia is just a few years away from desertification. So we have quite a hot climate. But go inland, and they have more extremes. When we lived in Córdoba, you have record temperatures in Córdoba of in the high 40s for the summer. That's shade temperature, and in the sunshine it's 60 plus. But then in the winter where we lived, it would go down to -8, and because we were living then a traditional lifestyle with no glass in the windows because people were very poor, so the climate can vary a lot. Things happen so slowly, but then that's why we're here. We love the pace of life. So if you do need something to happen quickly, just have patience. It will happen, but it will happen in its own time. Alcalá, La Real. You have Córdoba, Granada and Jaén provinces. There's a little point there where all the three provinces meet. And round about there you'll find Alcalá, La Real. It has the most incredible fortaleza. Fortaleza de la Mota. It's a great big castle. And it's hardly in any of the guidebooks. So go and check that out. Go to Almedinilla and look for Festum week. Festum happens in August, second or third week of August. And Almedinilla is very, very proud of its Roman heritage. So they have a whole week of Festum. They have an amphitheatre. The local people dress up in togas. There are workshops to show you how to make Roman makeup, Roman food. There's Roman everything there. It's an incredible place. Really, really connects well to its heritage. So Almedinilla. And go to Priego de Córdoba. It's the floating village. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. It's a whitewashed town, and it sits on a cliff overlooking a sea of olive groves. So it's very special. So go to Alcalá, go to Almedinilla and Priego de Córdoba. They're all within about 25 kilometers of each other. Never shout in English to get your point across. It's incredibly embarrassing. Why should people speak English? Like, we're in Spain, you should speak their language. And I unfortunately see it a lot, where people shout at the local population, particularly the waiters, and just because you're shouting more loudly, people aren't going to listen to you. So don't do it. Spain is known for a lot of things, but in Andalusia it is olive oil. So we create, I can't remember the exact percentage, it's something like 80 or 90% of the world's olive oil just in Andalusia. It's an incredible percentage, and it's not marketed, it's not promoted. And countries like Italy take the Andalusian olive oil, add a little bit of their own, and then they rebrand it as Italian olive oil. So olive oil, that's what you get here. Everybody cooks with extra virgin olive oil. I just go out and buy 15 litres of it at a time. It's dancing and singing. They dance and sing in the streets. People break out into Sevillana and flamenco dancing, and it's just natural. It's in their blood. The children just do it naturally. It's not for the tourists. Okay, I'm thinking singers. I'm thinking Julio Iglesias. Antonio Banderas. He's from Malaga. He's a Malaga boy. And he's an actor, if you haven't heard of him, Antonio Banderas. National dish, paella, the rice dish, paella. I've had paella that's been big enough for an entire village. Huge, great, big paella dish, enormous. And that's not a rarity, that happens a lot. It depends where you are, but there are regional variations in the recipe for paella. So if you go inland, you might have rabbit in your paella, you might have pork. But if you come down to the coast, then you're more likely to have seafood. The food here in Spain is great. We have a lot of fish and vegetables, and here in the Costa Tropical in particular, we have a lot of fruit as well. We grow bananas and mango and avocado and chirimoya, which is custard apple. So yeah, very, very healthy Mediterranean. During the pandemic period, we had 2 songs that the police would play in the streets, and one of them was Resistere, Resistere, da 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 da. It's now saying, can I sing it? Resistere. Time has a different meaning in Spain. When we first arrived, we were invited to a local fiesta, and they said the fiesta starts at midday. So coming from the UK, I thought midday is 12 o'clock noon. The mayor of the village said, Debbie, are you coming to the fiesta? I said, yes. When does it start? Midday. Okay, I'll be there. My neighbour said, Debbie, are you coming to the fiesta? Yes. When does it start? Midday. I'll be there. So I turn up to the fiesta at midday, 12 noon. Nothing. Nobody there. No preparations, not a soul. Midday here in Spain is 2 o'clock. So the fiesta actually started at 2 o'clock. Do it. Feel the fear. Do it anyway. Jump in with both feet. Spain will embrace you. Thank you. Thanks so much. And if you want to connect with me, I'm Debbie Skirm, Celebrant Spain. I am on Celebrant Spain on social media. And my website is celebrantspain.es, short for España. Que tengas un buen día. Have a great day. Where I live in Andalusia, there are a lot of olive trees, like 100 million olive trees, perhaps more. So there is a big culture, big farming culture here, and a lot of that is paid in cash, so not everything is declared. And I don't like the word expat, actually. We're immigrants. We're not expats, we're immigrants. Expat, immigrant. Okay, if you go to the Costa del Sol, because of tourism, there are many, many people there on the coast that will speak English. Not so much where I am in the Costa Tropical. They will have a go, they will try, but they will be even more friendly and welcoming and open to you if you're trying to speak their language. Obvious, isn't it? Expat.
Enjoy yourself. We in them roaring 20s. Must be them roaring 20s. Say la vie. Yes, indeed.